What's up guys, Jens Garcia here, and this is the Samsung Galaxy S5. Now I've been using this for almost 3 weeks now, and I've had a really good time getting to know it and tell you whether it's worth upgrading or not. Starting off with the design, the Galaxy S5 follows the similar design language to the Galaxy S4, but what's really noticeable is the back of the phone. Now don't get excited because it is still plastic but with a different finish. And it does remind me of the original Nexus 7 because of the dimples on the back. And you can get this in 4 different colors, so black one, which is the one we have here. There's electric blue as well, which looked really cool, and we actually just unboxed it yesterday on the channel, so definitely check it out. And then there's copper gold and of course the white one, but in my opinion the black and blue editions look the best. It is IP67 certified, which means it's dust and water resistant to a maximum of 1 meter for up to 30 minutes. Now I've seen other owners who used it at a deeper level and it did alright, but I don't really recommend you doing that, so just keep that in mind. Now what really makes this dust and water resistant is if you look at the back cover, you'll notice a rubber lining running around it, and I guess that's what makes it resistant. And of course the port as well, which is the cover that covers the port from getting all the water in there. Now make sure though that the back and port cover are placed in properly, or else you'll end up having to say goodbye to your Galaxy S5. It is slightly heavier than the S4 by 15 grams, but it's really hard to tell the weight difference between the two because it feels very slim, and I didn't have any trouble using the phone with one hand. And I know that may sound good on you, though in my opinion it is still lacking of finesse and that same craftsmanship we would find on the One M8 and iPhone 5s. This is definitely the best Galaxy device yet in terms of performance, thanks to the latest Snapdragon 801 for handling all the tasks that you're doing, and that's also backed up by 2GB of RAM for multitasking and Adreno 330 GPU to handle the graphics you need, and obviously that giant 1080p display. It also comes with either 16 or 32GB of storage, but that can be expanded for up to 128GB of external storage, which is a lot, but you'll certainly need it if you have a lot of media files, or if you're going to be recording in 4K a lot. There's a 2800 mAh of battery as well, which we'll talk about a little later in this video, and also as well as your wireless connectivity such as Wi-Fi, ABGN and AC, and LTE support. Most of the time it has been performing really great, but there are times as well where it just fails to meet how a high-end device should perform. It has a fingerprint sensor, which may sound exciting to you, but to make it really effective you've got to hold the phone properly and then swipe your finger properly as well. I've ended up pretty much turning it off, this feature, to unlock the phone because it just takes a long time to unlock it, and although I kept it on to pay using PayPal. But I guess the main question is whether it's necessary to have it or not. Personally, I don't think so. It just doesn't seem to work a lot as good as the iPhone 5s, where it seems flawlessly. So I guess it really needs an update or something like that to really make it work better. There's a heart rate monitor as well, which I was actually really excited about when I found out about it, but now I'm starting to realize that it's more or less just a gimmick. I mean, it's a great feature, don't get me wrong, I just didn't find myself using it most of the time. It's quite tricky as well to get it working because you have to be in a quiet location and must remain still in order for it to work. Some of you might find it helpful, but those are just my thoughts. In terms of responsiveness, it's really hard to compare over the Note 3 because both are very capable device, but it certainly outperforms the Galaxy S4. The interface has improved a lot as well over the S4 and previous Galaxy devices, but at the same time it just feels like a messed up interface, and I said that because the icons just doesn't match the icons on the settings page, which does remind me of Tizen, by the way. Now I'm not really gonna talk about that, but yeah, definitely search for Tizen. The fluidity is a lot better. You can definitely see how it has a better frame rates over the previous UI. I do find the transitions a little slow though, so I had to decrease it to 0.5 on the developer options just to kind of, match the One M8's transitions. There are things as well that I like about the new TouchWiz, and one of them is Toolbox. It's basically a quick shortcut button and you can add up to 5 applications, which is actually a neat feature, especially for a big device like this. There's a download booster as well, which is a great innovation, and Maxley actually did a test using it, so definitely check it out. I'll leave it in the description box below. Now there's the addition of ultra power saving mode as well, which is another cool feature, although I've only used it once when I went out for the whole day, and I turned it on when the phone had 10% battery remaining, and I've gotta say, it's a really handy tool in case of emergency. The way it works is basically it turns the display to black and white and then shuts down specific applications and unnecessary tools to cut down battery consumption. Speaking of battery, it's definitely a much improved over the S4, and I could get 12 to 15 hours on a medium consumption, although I've noticed that it drains really quick whenever I use the Gear 2, but on Gear Fit it's actually really fine, so it just needs an update to really make it last longer. And on a heavy consumption, I was getting only less than 10 hours, but that's because I was recording 4K videos, although I was probably expecting more before I got the phone. So but it just needs another update really to make it last longer. Display on the S5 is probably the best I've seen so far this year. It's so crisp and the texts are sharp, and even though it is a little saturated, I didn't even care about it that much anymore because I love how bright the colors looked on this thing. I mean, they're really vivid, and the amount of detail that it produces are superb. If you watch a lot of HD videos and play a lot of games, then you're definitely going to love the display on the S5. Even a 4K video, just download a sample 4K video on YouTube, and then you'll see how gorgeous the display on the S5 is. If you're following me on Instagram and Google+, then you know how much I love the camera on the S5. It's definitely one of the best cameras around on a smartphone right now, and the amount of detail it takes are superb, but you'll see them later in the video. It has a 16 megapixel sensor which is capable of recording in UHD, which is probably one of the reasons why you're gonna want the camera on the S5, but again, as I've said, you'll see more later when I show you some camera samples. The autofocus is a lot faster at 0.3 seconds, which is really effective if you want to caption fast moving objects or if you want to take photos in low light situation. There's a feature called selective focus as well, which blurs out the background, although in my opinion you just don't get the same result as the photos that are taken with the One M8, but hey, it does the job. The camera UI is a total mess as well. It's unorganized and it just looks very cluttered, and I always end up comparing it to the M8's camera UI and how polished it looks over this, but that really just TouchWiz in general, right? I wish there's a manual mode as well to take advantage of the camera, so hopefully they'll feature that on the S6. So that's the camera, and here are the samples I took, so please enjoy. and of course the call quality. Now I use the Optus network here in Sydney and it's been really fantastic. It's crisp and loud, especially with loudspeaker turned on, and what I really like about this is the volume booster, which increases the volume even more. It's great for outdoor use where there's a lot of noise going on. The S5 is definitely a much better phone compared to the Galaxy S4, but is it really worth upgrading? Well, it really depends on what you need. If you want the IP67 feature, 4K recording, heart rate monitor, and fingerprint sensor, then it is worth upgrading. But other than that, I don't really see it as a big upgrade over the S4. I guess wait for the Note 4 or S6 instead, but to be honest, I really did enjoy using the phone, especially the display and camera. But if I were to buy a phone, it would definitely be the M8 or the G3, which is coming out very soon. So there you have it, folks. That's the Galaxy S5. What do you think of it? Let me know in the comments below. If this video helped you decide whether to buy it or not, then feel free to hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or Google Plus if you have any questions. I'm Jens Garcia from Tech for Geeks, and I'll see you all in the next one.